In this another micro masterclass, I'm going to talk about influencer marketing, various aspects of influencer marketing to put you in the right perspective when you decide which influencers to work with when it comes to building your brand. So, why do we do influencer marketing in the first place? Why do we approach influencers? Why do we engage with influencers? Number one, we engage with them in order to leverage their reach. For example, if an influencer has, let's say, 1 million YouTube followers, the assumption is if we engage with them, the probability of our brand reaching his audience is way more high, right? So that's number one, reach. Number two is perception. Usually, big celebrities have great brand perception in the sense, if you use celebrities from movies or sports celebrities, they have high quality perception, and if you attach your brand with them, your perception goes up. But when it comes to influencers, social media influencers, this perception is not that great. At the same time, certain influencers have this perception which these mass celebrities used to have. So primarily, the number two aspect you approach, the reason why you approach influencers is perception. So number one is reach, number two is perception. Number three, engagement. A good influencer has a decent amount of engagement with his audience. It means his connect with this audience is more, right? And then the fourth important component, which is aligned with engagement, is trust. That's very, very important these days. So 4 elements of influencer marketing, the reasons why we engage with influencers, right? So now I put that into this graph. On one side, reach and perception. On the other side is engagement and trust, right? So now let's classify this whole influencers into 3 categories. Number one, these categories of influencers, you may call it as macro influencers. Macro influencers. I mean, their perception level, their reach is so high, right? Their reach is so high, but the worrying aspect is usually their engagement level is very less. When, as an influencer, when his following subscribers goes up, the level of engagement usually drops. And moreover, macro influencers, these influencers usually have roughly about 500K to 1 million subscribers. These are mass influencers. They don't specialize in any one single area. Usually they talk about a lot of things. Occasionally there are some niche influencers who have become macro, but they tap into multiple market segments. They do not have very clear targeting about their audience. So another reason why you have very low engagement and trust with macro influencers. And the other aspect is high cost. If you're a startup, if you're a small, medium business, these macro influencers are not so affordable to you. They charge heavily. So 3 aspects, right? High cost, low targeting, and less engagement and trust. But if you're a mass brand, wanted to reach a huge audience at one shot, macro influencers work like a charm. And then another category of influencers are micro influencers. They have roughly about, let's say, 1 lakh to 5 lakh following, right? Don't take these numbers as granted, but what I'm saying is macro influencers are massive. They have massive followings. Micro influencers, they are the next layer of this influencer, next to this macro influencers. They have reasonable amount of reach and perception, but also have good amount of engagement and trust. Since they focus on a particular niche, They engage with their audience. They even respond to the comments of their audience. Sometimes they even meet their audience frequently. So they are reasonably good, right? Number 3 type of influencers are nano influencers. These influencers may have roughly about 5K, 10K, sometimes 15 to 20K followers, subscribers. Very small niche community, but they have high level of engagement and trust. High level of engagement and trust. Usually, sometimes even your customers could be a nano customers, nano influencers. These nano influencers, what I've observed, a great quality in them is usually they are the consumers of a product. For example, I've noticed a gym goer who happened to create content related to health, fitness, and all those things. He consumes a lot of health drinks and health related products. So nano influencers, they don't just create content for the sake of creating content. They are passionate about their category, and their expertise about a particular category is so high. They are like experts. That's one of the reasons I would suggest startups or small brands, growing brands, can have a high level of focus with the nano influencers. Their reach and perception compared to macro and micro influencers are very low, but their engagement and trust is so high, right? So you could call this as long tail of influencers. There are a lot of nano influencers in the marketplace. They are very small, but they are community focused. High level of, they sometimes even know their audience one-on-one. They meet up with them, engage with them. Their audience trust them and love them to the core. That's what makes these nano influencers so special for the brands. They don't even get paid for the content they create sometimes, but they do it for the sake of doing it, for the sake of educating the market, because they are so passionate about their subject. So this is what I call the influencer marketing in a nutshell, right? You optimize on these 2 axes. On one side, reach and perception. On the other side, engagement and trust. There is no hard and fast rule. Sometimes you could choose a macro influencer if you have reached a level of scale where you want to tap into the mass market. There is nothing wrong. But I just thought of putting all these 3 categories of influencers at a proper bucket so that we can take proper decisions.